Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today with a nice warm mug of tea. This isn't my Prey mug, by the way. I dig this thing. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, today we're talking about Cyberpunk 2077 and CD Projekt Red. It's been just about a month since we last spoke about this crew because they've gone on radio silence pretty much for the last number of months with very small increments of information dripping out. We've had a pretty substantial leak now about a next-gen only version for Cyberpunk 2077, which we already knew existed, but now we have a better idea of the release date. Also, CD Projekt Red is looking to do multiple AAA projects this year. Yeah, we might want to slow our horses down a bit there. Also, there's a new game coming out from CD Projekt Red that's based off of Gwent, and I'm going to highlight why you may want to pay attention to this one. So there's actually a lot going on with them, finally, and it looks like the conversation is going to start picking up again with Cyberpunk as a next-gen version is impending. With that, if you're new here and you're looking for more Cyberpunk information, we do talk about it a lot. It's a pretty important game to this channel. I like it a lot, and so I'm very excited to see this next-gen version, so once the conversation picks up again, we'll be here to talk about it. So do consider subscribing. Now, let's get into the news. Starting off with the leak from PlayStation Game Size over on Twitter, where they tweet out, Cyberpunk 2077 PS5 with this brand new official looking cover art right here. And can we get a closer look at that? This thing is beautiful. I like this so much more. I think it's because I'm a little biased. I played as female V in my original playthrough for Cyberpunk 2077. I just think Jeremy Lay did an amazing job voicing her, so I feel like that's the best version of V, quite honestly. But when you look at the generic dude bro original cover and then this, such a different vibe here. So I really like where they're going with this artistically. But why should we trust PlayStation Game Size? They're a Twitter account that tracks all of the PSN activity, and so they typically update what's happening on the storefront, and this was one that they did discover amongst many other things. Now, they also posted beneath this tweet that they are thinking that it's coming sometime in either February this month or next month, March. This brings up the conversation I mentioned a while ago that CD Projekt Red is in a very awkward position because of the botched launch back in 2020. That's where the lightning was in the bottle. We had a moment there where this was a big cultural movement. People were excited. We had the anime announced, the multiplayer thing announced, and it was so bad that the anime's gone on radio silence, the multiplayer component got canceled, and now we're just quietly tinkering away on this. And they want to get it out as soon as possible before people move on to greener pastures. They move on to all these other amazing looking games in 2022. We just reviewed Dying Light 2, which, while very buggy and maybe reminiscent of Cyberpunk, it's also a really, really good game. So people are going to start to have decisions to make, and Cyberpunk 2077 being this old thing may just be left behind. So they need to get it out hastily, but they also don't want to rush it again and have the same problem resurrect once more, because then you start to push people like me who go, hey, I really like this game, in the territory of like, okay, what are we accomplishing by saying we like this game if this is the standard they're setting for themselves? I think the release window for the Cyberpunk Next Gen version seems accurate based off the PSN listing, because they say we are hard at work on the Next Gen version of Cyberpunk scheduled for release in the first quarter of 2022, alongside another major update for all platforms, CD Projekt Group President Adam Kaczynski said in a statement. There is also ongoing work in the next-gen version of The Witcher 3 and the Cyberpunk expansion. Beyond that, all we have is this god-awful roadmap that... I mean, look at this thing, man. I swear they had to have just put this out to make sure that they didn't get sued or something, because this is not informative at all. It just says, hey, here's the year things are coming in Q1. See you whenever. For those who are looking for an expectation check on this next-gen version, my read of the situation is based off what we saw with the subsequent patches for Cyberpunk 2077 when they tried to add actual new content, which was the clothing, the Johnny Silverhand outfit, and also I think a new car. That was all they could really give us, and people went, after all this time, this is all you got, because they were so busy fixing and working on the base game. So for the next gen version, I know a lot of people are saying like it's gonna kick down the doors with free quests and DLC, and that's very well possible. I'm not gonna shut the door on that, but I would say let's just aim for good performance, right? Let's aim for better visuals. That's a necessity, because the game, when you looked at the original PS4 version, no, sorry, that wasn't cutting it. So I think the visuals need to be there. And if anything, we can take a look at the PC version, which has continuously been improved and is a good representation of what this game can be in a functional state, which is, in my humble opinion, quite damn good. So I'm looking forward to this next gen version. Will I be reviewing it, checking it out? Of course. You all know I'm going to be on top of anything brand new Cyberpunk related because I do want to check it out. I'm invested in this game. And I also know that CD Projekt Red, while they have their flaws, as we've seen, they do some top-notch expansion work, and I cannot wait to see what they do with Cyberpunk, which had great storytelling. So we'll see with that, but for now, let's move into another bit of news here, which is about a Witcher game that's coming soon. It's not the one that you may be expecting, but it's not one you should really ignore. So this comes from IGN, where they exclusively report Witcher's Gwent getting a new single-player standalone game this year. IGN can reveal that The Witcher's Gwent is becoming a new single-player standalone game codenamed Projekt Golden Necker and set to launch in 2022. Projekt Golden Necker is currently in development within CD Projekt Red's Gwent team, and it aims to provide a captivating single-player experience different to previous versions of the digital card game. Projekt Golden Necker will be a completely standalone game and won't require players to own any other versions of Gwent to get the full experience. It'll be something else entirely, according to GwentCom's lead Pal Burza. It's not another Witcher Tales game, but something different, he said. We're aiming to provide a captivating single-player experience for players who prefer it over competitive Gwent. The 2022 Gwent roadmap has already revealed that new cards are due to be released in April, July, October, and December, and every Witcher game has been released in either May or October in the past. This means that, assuming the cards appear in Gwent, the Witcher card game, along the new standalone game, it's very possible that Projekt Golden Necker will be releasing in October 2022, which, if you're looking forward to Starfield, amongst many other things that will be coming out then, we might be too busy for a brand new Witcher card game, but here's why you shouldn't outright ignore it. Keep your mind open to it. I know they say it's not going to be like the Tales game for The Witcher, which Witcher Tales was really good. One of my favorite RPGs of last generation, and it was heavily slept on. While everyone was parading around, and understandably so, The Witcher 3, I was sitting there saying, we need to put respect on CD Projekt, because when Thronebreaker came around, this game kicked butt. It was a true RPG, choice and consequence at its heart, but it took the Gwent mechanics and made them a lot more interactive, and the way they represented monsters by laying out the cards in unique ways. It was just such a cool, unique game. Again, highly do recommend this game if you have yet to check it out, but this was based off of Gwent. Now, they're saying it's not going to be like this game, which I think is a shame because it makes it a lot easier to recommend, so I'm curious what they're going to do with it. But again, CD Projekt Red has proven to me, when I thought, you know, The Witcher 2 was amazing, Witcher 3 was also amazing, I was thinking to myself, oh, you're going to make a single-player Gwent game. Okay, oh, wait, this is really good. So I'm keeping an open mind, even in a post-Cyberpunk world, on what this game is. Is it high on my hype list? No, don't get it twisted at all. But it's just one that, when you see the trailer pop up in your feed on your Twitter account, remember what I said, consider checking it out. It may be worth your time. We will see with that. Now we got to get into our last bit of news. This one's a bit of a head scratcher, so let's read the fine print and then talk. This report comes from GameRanks, where they say CD Projekt Red to develop 2 AAA titles in 2022. The simultaneous implementation of 2 AAA projects is our strategic goal for this year. An element that is to significantly support this process is a more efficient way to control the progress of a given product development, thanks to working in the agile methodology. In addition, we intend to hire new, talented people to support our development teams, he said. We're trying to ensure that the team leaders in our group have more autonomy in making decisions and initiatives, Kaczynski said. Of course, we constantly observe industry trends and events so as not to fall out of circulation. Cyberpunk taught us a lot. It was an impulse and motivation for changes that will make us better in the future. I guess it's good that they're shooting high here. They've been expanding quite quickly. They just absorbed 2 studios in the last year, one of them being an indie dev studio that's going to be apparently working on a Witcher game. Perhaps it's this Gwent game or something else. At least that's the speculation based off what they said. But when it comes to them making 2 AAA projects right now, you know, they got to stay agile, but I feel like this is a degree of moving too fast. Like, we've got to fix Cyberpunk first. We got to make sure that's in a good, comfortable state where it's a template that they can be built on with future expansions, with future DLC. That is the goal, ultimately. Because when you really think about it, here we are in 2022, just talking about the next-gen version of the game. If everything was timely and in a perfect world, Cyberpunk comes out in a pretty well-patched state in 2020, I mean, we got to look at probably around this time, we're talking about the new expansion coming out instead of the next-gen version. So they've been set back quite a bit, and I know it's going to take a while to catch up, but I really think that needs to be the focus, not overburdening your teams with new AAA projects across the board. They're just doing a lot of different things, and I wonder if I always have to go through this point of speculation because we're just in that type of industry now. Are they trying to inflate their value as much as possible to make themselves an attractive purchase? CD Projekt is independent, so they could fit underneath a multitude of banners. Maybe Embracer Group, I don't know, maybe Xbox, maybe Sony, who knows? But it's something that's always worth considering because I think one thing that we don't talk about too often here on this channel, even though we talk a lot of acquisitions, is how Bethesda, before they were purchased by Xbox, those talks dated back to 2018, November 2018. And as we saw, Bethesda started to really ramp up microtransactions, live service games, because if those games were more lucrative, that would pump up the value that they would then sell for, which was $7.5 billion, one of the highest paying acquisitions we saw in our industry's history. Now, of course, things can be a little bit different, like Activision, where it only takes a couple of months to come together. The report is November as of this moment in time, and obviously the announcement was in January. Pretty quick moves there. So sometimes it comes together quickly, and it's not like that, but then again, Activision already has a ton of service titles that bloat their value anyway. So my point being here is that this could be a shrewd move on their behalf to make them a more attractive purchase in the long run when you have these things sustained. But it could also just be they want to make AAA games, and I'm galaxy braining this. I'm not going to shut the door on that. So that's what's going on with CD Projekt as of late. When you ask me, how I'm feeling about all of this, I'm cautiously optimistic about the next-gen version. Obviously, I want to lay my eyes on it, but I'm excited to see what that is and if new content's coming with it. As someone who's already played the game a couple times, it's like, okay, well, I just want to wait for the new stuff. And that's another issue I didn't even address in this video is you have a group of people who have beat the game, loved it, want more, and then you have a group of people who refuse to play it because it needs to run properly. So it's going to be hard to balance those two. But for me, I'm going to be interested to see what that next-gen version actually does. So time will tell on that. Otherwise, I don't know how well advised it is to have two AAA projects in development, but I'm curious about this new Gwent single-player game. So time will tell on all of this stuff, but we'll talk about it as it starts to gradually get unveiled. Until then, take great care of yourselves. Let me know what you're thinking of this news in the comments down below. Fire away. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who have signed up and continue to support what we're doing here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.